What's up, everybody? We got folks in. Folks are coming in. This is what we like. This is what we like. What's up? What's up, Maxi? Savos. Maxi, is that short for Maximilian? Just curious. Your name's Maxi King. Are you like Maximilian König? Is that your name? Cole, what's up, Cole? Yeah, ER hype. Yeah, we'll talk about earnings a little bit. Be good today. Guido, what's up? What? What's up, Michael? I didn't know your name was Michael. Maybe I did. Maybe I just forgot that. What do you mean it's a suite from here? I don't know what that means. I do know somebody named Michael Sweet. But he goes by a Greek name. He goes by Miletus, the accuser of Socrates. Which was very cool. And also a really cool way to introduce yourself. That's what he said to me the first time. He introduced himself to me. He was like, "I'm Michael too. I'm also Michael, but you can call me Miletus. It's the accuser of Socrates." I was like, "That's awesome, dude. That's really cool." Oh, I didn't know that. Is it like Big Milk? That's one of my favorite products to come out of like the European dessert market. Big Milk taste. That's like there's my favorite Euro candy bar is Corny Big, and my favorite ice cream is Big Milk Taste. Big Milk Taste. Yeah, dog. Milkshake. When I was in Thailand, I had to I actually explain. Actually, I explained to some Polish friends in Thailand that I saw there, like actually the difference between a shake and a smoothie, because I didn't know, and also it was always different on the menus in Thailand. So like Thai people also didn't know the difference. But fun thing, right? So a smoothie is not going to have milk or cream in it. A shake is. Also, you've got a frappe, which could be ice cream or could be milk, but there's dairy in it. Yeah. Big Milk, dog. You've been gone from Austria for a while, huh? Great, babe. What's up, man? Happy Friday, sir. Hey, yo, short Fridays. Hey, if you've been shorting, except for today, if you've been shorting, that's been working for 15 days in a row. So, not bad. El Mono's here. What's up, my friend? What's up, Major Tom? Good to see everybody. We got the crew. The crew is in the house. There's always one person. Like one person comes through with a Twitter comment, and then we hear crickets from the Twitter crowd. But they pump up our numbers. Oh, that's cool. We could all try that. Let's just replace all of our. We'll just replace all of our strategies. Just all by puts on Friday. How did that work today? Let's actually see. That's a good way to start things off today. Let's take a peek. Yeah, we had a nice green day, but not like super high. Yeah, let's do 1 minute SPY. How we do here? Let's close this guy. Yeah, we had a pretty interesting day to start us off. This is a little spread out. I'm gonna get this in a bit. Yeah, scrunch it up, scrunch it up, scrunch it up. There we go. Yeah, we were still okay. So like GameStop was still pretty correlated with SPY, although we had a little bit more movement in SPY. We also had that big pump at the end there in SPY too, into the close, and then back down. Did we crash back down on GameStop? I don't think we did. No, we didn't. We stayed over 23, which is cool. Yeah, within, what do you know? Closed at 23.05, so we still got that max pain finish. Yeah, that's so. I think one of the things that kind of got me really really interested today, right? Was really what I think this says about swaps, right? What this says about swaps, what this says about sort of broader market context, how that plays into it. Let me look at the comments real quick. You do not need XApp to chat on Livestream. You can chat right here on YouTube. But if you should be able to do it right on X, I think. Yeah, like I'm looking at myself talk right now on the X app. There's a little delay. That's okay. Yeah. That's a cool fact, Guido. We like cool facts here. Awesome. Yes. Cool. Yeah, you gotta click my logo, because the logo, I think right, the logo on my app says logo on it. If we go over here, we can do this. I don't want to get into one of those like infinite feedback loops. If we click my face. Yeah. It's just like, that's pretty cool. This is the first time I've done this on X. I'm watching myself do what I just did. Oh, here it comes. Oh, wow, it really does. Wow, it goes into an infinite feedback loop into the past. That's pretty wild. Are you guys seeing this right now? This is what we do with our GameStop live streams. Very cool. Do we see settlement today after hours? That's a good question, Rehards. I don't know. I don't know about that. I'm inclined to think no. So all right. So we can start here before we get into like the PSA stuff. I think there's a pretty strong chance that, you know, all of this that we just saw, I mean, high correlation with the market, but I think this more or less says, okay, when all of a sudden stuff just stops making sense like this, when the predictability of things, we just kind of start precipitously just like going down, what's going on there? And I think this is where I think if you guys haven't had a chance to check out Richard Newton's videos, I'd really recommend you go do that. One of the things that you know, I talk to Richard pretty frequently, and one of the things that we've noticed that he's been able to put together, right? He's had for a lot of months now, he's had this working this working thesis just on swaps, right? Just on basically looking at local lows and then basically going, okay, we have these weird precipitous lows. Like, what's going on with that? Why is that happening? And just kind of conjecturing, like, I wonder if there is a swap roll that happens at this date. And then it just the price gets walked out, like it gets tanked for the swap roll. Like, right, you put your finger on the scales. I think he's used like a beach ball in the water kind of metaphor. I've used the finger on the scales metaphor, and like you push it down, push it down, push it down. But then as soon as you take your finger off, up it goes. And so they'll push down, 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 roll the swap, and then let things go back up. Now, to Rehard's point here, will we see something happening after hours, like settlement of like FTDs or some of this shorting or whatnot that's been done after hours in order to manipulate the price? One other thing from looking at Matsy's data and looking at Always Sad But Truthful also talks about this. We have another set of swaps coming up at the end of the month, right? Richard's been hypothesizing about this. 28th of March lines up in the swap data, lines up with his tracking the lows. I think it's 170. Some of the swaps are 176 days, and some of the swaps alternate between 176 and 147 days. And so some of the swaps have been closed. So some of the ones back from like 2019, 2020, early 2021, those have been closed. But it does look like there are maybe like 4 kind of main groups of swaps that are still kicking around. So we just had this week, probably like on the 13th, somewhere between the 11th and the 13th. Richard's original thought was the 11th. Of course, when we looked at the Archegos swaps, the actual dating the presumed Archegos swaps that were taken over by Credit Suisse, the presumed expiry date was presumed the 11th. The recorded date that those would expire is 13th of March. So those were probably rolled yesterday. That's maybe, and this is where, maybe you get into some conspiracy with this stuff, but it's like, was the market tanked with that type of intensity to that date in order to roll that swap, right? Like how, because right, okay, like in what's going on with this swap, right? We know Credit Suisse went under, right? Credit Suisse went under in 2023, basically days after the day that they rolled, that they repackaged their bags in the Archegos swap, because Archegos defaulted. I guess they were, over leveraged to a certain degree, and by not being able to have that delivered to them, I guess not being able to profit from that trade as much as they would have wanted to, it like way unbalanced their books. They were way over leveraged in that trade. And so they went under. UBS was forced to take Credit Suisse into custodianship, and UBS, it seems, has been like managing whatever is left over from the whole Archegos thing through whatever's going on with the market at the moment, right? So to what extent is this like well known in the industry, and to what extent is it sort of understood that like, okay, Credit Suisse is going to, or UBS is going to take some emergency measures in order to unwind parts of this position or roll this position or manage this position. Therefore, let's just go with what UBS is going to do, and then kind of come out of it like that, or something along those lines. So it does look like, what we got into this week was a lot of the just straight downward price action had to do with rolling this swap. And what seems to be the case is that in 2 weeks, we have another pretty sizable swap day. I think I posted about that a little over a week ago. We have another, what is it? Like 20 or 30 billion in notional value that needs to get rolled. So what I'm expecting at this point I think we're going to recover a bit into earnings. I could imagine now that we've had the date announced, what we see based on that pop, because that big pop we got today up to 23. Let me make this a little bit bigger for us here. That big pop we got today up to 23. So we were already kind of moving up, but then kind of the thing that really sent us here, this big, huge order over here, like this rocket, was the actual official earnings announcement. So my guess is like whatever algorithms trade the stock, what have you, they were just waiting on that, right? They were waiting on that to actually come through. Very kind of GameStop to wait until the swap was rolled, I guess. But actually, I'm gonna make this a little bigger so you can see. So yeah, this move here came out that this was a minute after we got the announcement of the actual earnings date. And then IV pumped too. IV got super high. IV got up to like 94, 95% per Schwab. So they were probably waiting to do that anyway. And what I think is they'll probably let this run for a couple weeks into earnings. And then I would not be surprised if then they use earnings. Doesn't matter how good earnings is. I imagine they will crush it to an extent, back down out of that to roll that next swap, and then maybe even into April, OPEX. So just like we saw last year, with this same, because these are the same swaps from last year to a certain extent. Well, no, that's not true, right? This isn't, last year wasn't the Credit Suisse swap. If we bump out to our yearly chart here, but there were swaps rolled. So it's like there are several bundles of swaps, perhaps, or not necessarily that they're getting rolled, but they get priced, like they have a 6-month like benchmark. So they get like repriced or something every 6 months. I've heard something like that, where they have like, one of the parties has to pay an interest rate. They have to pay a premium. Like Michael Burry paid premiums on the mortgage-backed security swaps when he shorted the housing market, or shorted the housing mortgage-backed securities market. Right. So there's a benchmark. So every once in a while, right, there's a referral to the underlying security, and then that determines what premiums will cost going forward. So it may not be that these are rolled every 6 months or something like that, or rolled every year, but there's maybe like a 6-month benchmark that determines what the next 6 months of premiums will be, or something like that. So if we look over, let me see if I can zoom in here. Right, last year, we had a surprisingly good Q4 earnings report. We still traded down into it, right? So moved up into January here, end of December, January. And then as soon as January came down, we got pushed down. So we made it to 18.5, and then down. We found stability at around 1350, up a little bit, down a little bit, up a little bit, down a little bit, and then just kind of bled off into late February, almost to $13, ran up a bit to 15, then got crushed down into right around this week of trading, right? Crushed down here. The swaps were a little bit later, maybe. And then into earnings, which was on the 26th. So shot up into earnings and then shorted, right? Immediately cut the price, even though earnings was good. Shorted, down, end of March, end of April, into April OPEX, which was the 19th. No recovery until after April OPEX. Then the following week, get a little bit of recovery, start to move up end of April, cool off that first week, and then the first OPEX in May, boom, explode. So we could get something like this again, in terms of how we move into OPEX. We did see that really, really big options trade a a big short options trade, right? So two different 29 short $29 call trades. One of them for the 28th of March, so immediately after earnings. I think it's something like 5,000 something contracts were opened earlier this week, and very end of last week we saw, maybe it was even just Monday this week, over 8,600 short calls were sold for April 17th, also at $29. So interesting to see two really big chunk trades like that come through. Those are big block trades in the options market, and they totaled, right, several million altogether in premium. So somebody out there's got like 13 or 14,000 contracts open that are short at $29 heading into April OPEX, coming out of earnings and heading into April OPEX. So that seems to me like, okay, right, even if earnings are good, that's what that trade sort of says to me. Even if we have really good earnings, odds are those aren't closing in the money, right? Those aren't closing in the money. Part of that is $30 is going to be a call wall, right? So either we have a $25 call wall that kind of forms up, or $30 is going to stay our call wall based on market maker gamma exposure. And we've seen this in the past, right? We saw this all last year, no matter how intense things got, basically, except for whatever Roaring Kitty and Cohen were able to engineer heading into the end of the year, right? This sort of wombo combo thing, that we closed under 30. And even in all of that milieu, we still had, I think we only had like 3 weeks where we closed over 30. The last couple weeks of December, or like the last week of December and the first 2 weeks of January. First two OPEXs of January. That's it. Or options expiries, I should say. So just 3. So 29, especially the April ones were sold at like $1.50 or something. So like expiry on that, the closing, like those will be profitable as long as, it closes under like 30.50. And the ones for the 28th, I think, were 58 cents. So as long as it closes under 29.50, those will be profitable on that. So a couple things there kind of standing out to me, like that's kind of the pattern that I'm seeing. Richard's been talking about some similar stuff. So yeah, definitely go check out what he's looking at. But I would say probably on the more even side heading into this weekend, heading into next week. I wouldn't see kind of a runaway based on thinking about that second round of swaps. Having earnings in there, we've seen they love to do the kind of run it up and then crush it. There'll definitely be an IV crush unless there's some bit of news that's just absolutely crazy and the stock goes nuts. Like, oh my gosh, they didn't make 150 million. They made 300 million profit because they did this secret investment that blah, 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 something like that. Something like that. Yeah. Oh, all your comments all loaded at once. Oh my gosh. Hey, thank you. Cheers, my friend. KCR. First comment I've seen over here from KCR. Nice to see you. Cheers, my friend. What's up, Kurt? Kurt's also testing it on the X side of things. Yeah. Okay. Probably should tell Musk to redesign that. Wouldn't things get dicey for those rolling the swaps during the market retracement we're in? The value of their total holdings would be at risk. What do you mean as far as rolling those? I mean, eventually, right, they have to close these, or they should, because GameStop's, like anybody who has short swaps, like they should stop rolling them. They should just kind of eat the loss, right? But I mean, if you mean like at this point, should they have rolled it like last year? Like, maybe. They probably thought like going into April that everything was going to be cool, right? GameStop down to $9.95. That's what pre-split under 40. That's like 38. So that's like the February bottom, right? They brought it all the way back to the February bottom from 2021. And then whoop. Yeah. Hello, add your name. Great question. Cheers, man. Yeah. Yeah. So that's what I'm thinking over these next couple weeks. So I think a lot of that, of course, is going to be contingent on um, whether we see continued stability in SPY. So like today, right? What I was looking at, what I posted today, is and what I've been doing recently is also trying to understand what's going on with the broader market stuff. Because if we're tanking, like, yeah, there'll be some price suppression in GameStop. But I think what we started to see today over in SPY, which was cool to see, and sort of the inverse of what we saw taking place in February, is traders closing puts here. So I marked this up, right? I marked this up over in my newsletter, but I think we could get a move back to, kind of 575 in the short term, or maybe, over the next couple weeks, either, next week or sort of coming out of March OPEX, maybe that Monday or Tuesday. I think, as I mentioned, April OPEX is still looking bearish. So I think, we kind of move, we kind of move up, maybe hang out here a little bit at either one of these crosses, and then kind of continue our way back down here. If we bump out to the weekly, for example. Right, look at our price momentum oscillator. Rory Kittinger's price momentum oscillator. As you can see, still falling off a cliff, right? Still falling off a cliff. Our deeper momentum indicator is taking its sweet time. Still moving down, but it's taking its sweet time. Yeah, and we kind of moved back up here. We closed the week actually right on the 50-week moving average here. Right, just below it. So we could, we could kind of move back up here for a week before we continue our way south. We're gonna have just kind of a brief reprieve from some of that selling. Traders can cash out some of their March puts and then reposition for April on that kind of bump up, and we'll kind of have those hitchbacks. So if we bump back to 2022, for example, we had a lot of that. And specifically, we had that in March, going into March OPEX. Right, so that's what we had. We actually had 3 green weeks, well, 2 pretty sizable green weeks, kind of a doji green at the very end of March. And then coming out of that, then we went back into go into the dirt. Then a week of reprieve around, I guess that'd be around May OPEX. And then back down, and then June, right? Summer was good. June, July looking good into August, and then mid-August back down again. September, a little hitchback, right? A little hitchback. Then we start to recover, right? Coming into early 2023 is where we start to recover. And then we finally kind of get out of we only really leave it behind, right? We only reclaim everything that was lost in 2022, 2023. Actually, last year, May, right? Last year, May, basically right when GameStop exploded, the week before GameStop exploded, or the week that GameStop exploded with Roaring Kitty's return, was the first day that we surpassed the highs achieved in 2022, I think. January 2022. No, that's not true. It was a little bit higher than that. but we did correct back down. It was right here. We surpassed it in January. But in any case, we could see a bit of a hitchback like that, and then we'll see it. I think we see selling resume just based on how early we are in this PMO trend here. Whoa. Let's go back to. We can compare how it looks. Oh no, I moved it like. Oh no. Oh, there we go. Okay. Oh no. What did I do? All right, there we go. So, yeah. So we got a ways to go, right? I think this is going to look like 2022. And, we've only kind of just started to fall off this cliff. But doesn't mean we won't have some hitchbacks. Let's take a look. Do I think Ryan Cohen needs to do something with the cash short term or just keep stacking cash for the next few years? Yeah, I don't think he does. Because here's an interesting play. I was talking about this with Richard not too long ago. I think it was Richard. Maybe it was somebody else. Maybe it was Guido. Maybe it was you. I don't remember. But in any case, right? Maybe it was Richard. In any case, Ryan Cohen can just wait. Like, you do realize that Ryan Cohen is up like 20x on GameStop right now. He started buying when GameStop was like $1, post-split adjusted $1. Like, he's put in max like 200 mil, which sounds like a lot to us. But when you're already a billionaire and you put in 200 mil, and like his first buy-in was like 100 mil, and then his second buy-in was like 50. And then he's put in another like 50 over the course of like 2021, 2022. So he's doing great. That guy does not have to worry, right? He's got like 38 million shares, something like that, at 20 something dollars a share. And I'm pretty sure his cost base average is like $3.50. Yeah, so he's up, I guess right now he's up like 8x or something. So he's doing okay. And he could just sit. Right, Ryan Cohen is interested in transforming the business. But like he can just wait for this stuff to happen. And the other thing he can do is he can sit around and wait until maybe Doge does something. Like, remember, he's gotten all these tweets about Trump and Musk, and I guess he was tweeting. He tweeted something for Polyever also. And I think part of the idea there is, there is certainly a chance that the Doge team goes ahead and does something to short selling. They could, I think the way I expressed this was, they could pull a Xi Jinping and just say, guess what? Short selling is illegal. It's done. We're not going to do it anymore. You have a year to phase out all of your short trades. We'll help you do that. But then when you're done, you're done. Close all your short positions. And that happened to Alibaba last year. That happened to Alibaba in September. September 6th was the deadline for all short selling to finally come to a close in China. I think they had like a year or something like that to like phase out their positions. Ryan Cohen, of course, has a big position in Alibaba. And starting on September 6th, Alibaba just started mooning because they had to close their short positions, and it couldn't be shorted. And let's bring up the BABA chart. If short selling is banned, this could happen to Alibaba, right? So just end of August, July, August, Baba was like in the 70s, trading in the 70s. And then it ran up to 120, sold back off into the 80s, and now it's trading at over $140. So it doubled. And it's not a small, right? It's not a small company. It doesn't have a small market cap. What's their market cap? Pretty big. It's Alibaba's China's Chinese Apple, and that mooned, of all things, right? So if short selling gets banned, or if there's major short selling restrictions, or even if like they actually have to follow through with like following form show to disclose their short positions, which they're right there. Part of the reason the SEC gave the year-long extension to institutions to wait to report their short positions is because if they were exposed right now, like they knew this market like contraction was coming, if they exposed their short positions right now, they'd all get squeezed. They'd all get squeezed. And I think now they also realize that like enough like maybe for like not quite retail, but independent traders and and institutions who can leverage influence, can leverage nudging of household or of independent traders, kind of internet traders, such as the likes of us, can actually can short squeeze institutions. They can basically use. Yeah, think about this. Just as you have like the Citadels of the world, who have teams of shills and bots getting people to do misinformation or what have misinformation, nudging people away from this or that, or doing false headlines for something like GameStop. Like they can easily, another institution can just go ahead and fund like, all right, here's whatever stock this is. We know that our rival fund is like way over leveraged on a short position for this stock. So we're just going to start putting the idea out there across Reddit and Twitter and all of this to try to seed like a kind of groundswell short squeeze on these people if that position's divulged. That's all it takes. So Cohen doesn't need to buy anything right now. He can take his time rolling out, whatever tech and developing this NFT marketplace and, applying blockchain tech to the PSA partnership. Very interested to hear what we're going to, what more we'll get to learn about as far as the PSA partnership with, Nat Turner and Nat Turner being on the board, and whether, what that's going to look like, what the extension is going to look like. Maybe they do a merger acquisition type thing with PSA. Not sure, but they don't have to. He doesn't have to spend that cash, and that's fine, right? Because they can just collect. They can collect interest for, however long. Continue to pile that up. Wait to make great investments, and then each time a quarter comes out, they're more and more profitable. Their cash pile grows, and then the algorithms price the stock up, and then we continue to get these swings on swap rolls, swap closures, this FTD nonsense, these business, and we can keep trying to do this stuff with timing these cycles until something like actually some kind of regulatory action comes through or something like that. So doesn't have to, and it won't mean that. It doesn't have to mean that nothing will happen with the stock. Yeah. Oh, excuse me. I don't know about the polygrams. Excuse me. I'm not sure. I don't know if we're still going to see turbulence from the Japan carry trade. I expect that we might have already seen that priced in with this like this correction that we've just seen. I think we've probably already seen that. I think what we'll see is the market go up from the Bank of Japan stuff basically next week, and the real decline, the real deleveraging just happened. That's what happened. We'll get the Bank of Japan decision next week, and then whatever deleveraging happens in April for other reasons, will be blamed on the Bank of Japan stuff. That's my leading hypothesis. Just based on like whatever is being talked about, whatever the current news is, that was priced in several weeks ago, and whatever's being priced in now is something else. Yeah. Cultivating Connections, cool name, by the way. I do think they will desync to a certain extent going into earnings. I think in general, because we're going to see, I think we'll see something of an up move in SPY. We'll see a bit of recovery in SPY. I mean, that'll correlate to a bit of a recovery in GameStop as well, but I'm not sure how close that's going to be, how close that correlation will be. I don't know. That's a good question to think about as far as like if I start to think about April or May or June. Right now, like I said, still looking like it'll be a bearish April, probably not as steep as March has been. But depending on how far down we move, because we could still move down on SPY, but if we don't like really move down, then I don't think we see that same degree of correlation like we've seen these past 3 weeks with GameStop. But yeah, remains to be seen. Remains to be seen. But I do think there's going to be less of a coupling into earnings. Hey man, congrats on the apartment purchase. That's really cool. Okay, so you wanted to maintain basically your level of exposure by leveraging your capital with Leaps. Well, if you just did that now, probably not a bad move, because like I said, I think we're going to have a couple of bullish weeks here. The only thing I would say is if you do find that we're really kind of moving up with those over the next couple weeks, maybe consider, like that's how I always am with long calls, right? Maybe consider trimming some once you get up a certain amount. I do think that we're going to see lower price action in April. So you can kind of maybe consider flipping those. I mean, you have to decide, right, if you'd really like to hold through those, depending on what your entry cost is. If we see kind of 22 or 21 pop up again, like you'll see these maybe if you're holding like in the money, like, like 20s, like Jan 26 20s, $20 calls, then those are probably going to get down to like 6 or 650. So, just be prepared to potentially hold through some of that. I mean, it's less risky. I'll say this. One thing that I appreciate, and I made sure I got options permissions to do this. What is nice about Leaps is you can, I'll use them for poor man's covered calls. So I'll do deep in the money Leaps, or I guess that's not technically a leap, but a Leaps, excuse me. But poor man's covered call. So I do deep in the money call and then sell covered calls on that. So that makes it a little bit less like the depreciation. If we really go down, like depreciation is going to go faster, then a covered call will replace the loss, but it makes that loss a little bit more stomachable. So that's, I have had I've had like a handful of that, right? Handful of Jan 26s, deep in the money Jan 26s that I've been just selling covered calls on. They've depreciated, a little bit. This is, back earlier in the month, started adding to that position. Not very big, but that's a way to, manage something like that. That's what I would say. That's what I'd say about that. You could, but also, keep in mind your leverage. So, okay, your losses or your gains are leveraged that much more, but your losses are leveraged that much more as well. And, things are timed. So if we do get a really big event, if we do get a big upward volatility thing in May, June, if we go back into the, if you're trading like let's use the 20 for easy figures. You're trading that, and then we go up to, $30 again midsummer. Great. You're looking great. If you see that by June, those are nice and profitable. Personally, because I would be trading those, like if I'm thinking about, okay, what would I be doing with those? Thinking about those in terms of timing up these different volatility swap roll cycle types things. If our swap roll cycle, right, if we have this correct, the next, I think our next period is going to come in like end of July, August again. I think we're gonna get another roll period. Let me pop back over to our charts here. Certainly, it does look like we're going to have some difference of momentum at that point. So yeah, so we've got one. We've got one here coming up, right? The 28th. So in here, so we can move up a little bit and then back down, maybe even into April OPEX in here, maybe even test 20. Like we could test, 20, 2050, 2070 or something, April OPEX. And then certainly if we do, then, up we go. Just like, but we get this cool off period in here again. Exciting May, maybe exciting June, kind of a secondary thing in July, and then move back down August, kind of steady September, move back down kind of end of September after earnings, and then into end of October. And then we'll have this period free of needing to deal with swaps, right? So this arc is swaps are being rolled in here. This is free of swap roll. Then swaps are being rolled here, right? And then this is free. So if we bump back here, all right, this is earnings good, right? This is kind of free of swaps. Then swaps are being rolled in here. And then this is free of swap rolls, and then swaps are being rolled in here. And then this is free, and then they're being rolled here. So if I were trading those right now, I would be looking at basically like at the latest, like a kind of June exit on those. That's what I would be thinking about if I were trading these, right? Not trade advice or something like that. But I would, at that point, I'd be like, okay, let's see how much this can go. Okay, are we gonna get this? If so, great, awesome, take profits. If not, that's okay. Get out of these, reposition back so that I'm not, taking those. I'm not at risk of really starting to take big sort of, charm losses, right? So delta loss over time. Sometimes beep boops fight other beep boop boops. The beep boop boops, right? The beep boop boops. We're all living inside a giant beep boop boop. This whole thing is a big beep boop boop. All of it. Just a bunch of beep boop boops. This market is algorithms that are. This market is run by algorithms. We're just along for the ride. We're just along for the ride. Simple Rick, man. I don't know, dog. Simple Rick's been on that $16 hopium. I don't even know where you're getting that number, dog. Like, great. Like, if you get that, awesome. But like, why not 1750? Right? Why not 1850? Like, why is 16 your number? That's what I want to know. Like, why is Simple Rick such a hardliner on that 16? You got to click it. You got to click my portrait. Oh, wow. Oh, no. So like this, right? Does this happen the whole time though? Hopefully. Oh, okay. No. I was worried for a second. Yeah, so click the portrait there. What's up, Hoogie? Hoogs. Do I think after the announcement of earnings, the IV will increase and then drop off the table after 325? I think it will increase into 325. It will get crushed as soon as earnings is announced. Will they use that drop to try and force the price under 20? Under 20, I don't know. I think my initial sort of outlook on this is they didn't get it down to 2050 on this drop. They didn't push it. The lowest they got it was what, 2155? That was the lowest they got it. They didn't get it to 2050. I thought, basically my thought was like, if they got 2050 this time around, I think they would try to push it into the teens afterwards. Since they didn't get down to 2050, I think potentially, unless, oh my gosh, we get absolutely cataclysmic market collapse or something like that. I think if we do get another low, it's going to be 2050. I think that'll be what they aim for. That's my presumption there. And part of that is based on we still have technically deep bullish momentum from last summer and the fall. So if we hop over to, yeah. So the 55 line here shows, what the character of basically our last year of trading has been. And it's still bullish. Okay, the shorter term stuff is coming down. We're about to get, admittedly a bearish cross here. But this line is still moving up, right? The 55, the average is still increasing. Now, it probably will actually for another while because it's also including all of our March and April data. So for another, basically until June, I think it's still gonna, early May maybe, like mid, no, like kind of, yeah, early June. It's still gonna be moving up, the blue line here. So we still have deep bullish momentum out, like way out on the weekly chart. So that's not gonna break for, like I said, until June. So if we start logging like more bullish weeks in here, it's gonna, at least even off. It's not necessarily gonna go bearish. And then at that point, it's like you have to push it under $20 in order to get momentum to go bearish. Daily, it's still looking, a bit bearish still, although we're kind of right, we're evening out a bit here. We will probably get a zero line cross, but momentum over the next 2 weeks might even out, and then we'll be looking at some bullish crosses on this side of stuff. That'll be tough. I mean, they can always try to pull this stuff off, right? Especially if they really, really tank the market. But I think the odds of a teens push at this point are pretty low, and it's going to be after earnings. Earnings is going to show we're going to have an extra like $150 million in cash on the books, right? The algorithms are going to take in like cash on. That's the thing that's basically saving the price now, is the fact that the company has so much cash. So if their cash on hand goes up, that's going to make it harder. How can you justify pricing the company even lower with additional cash on hand. Wait, there's like it was 1930 was the lowest that it got back in September before they got that extra like 100, what was it? 400 mil, right? Before they got 400 million. And then before we took off in November, right? The lowest we got was like 2030 something with the 4.6 rather than the 4.2 billion. So then we added like another like 20 mil on top of that in like quarter 3 earnings report revealed. Was it 17 mil was the profit? And so now we're going to get like another 100 to 150 million on interest earnings for this quarter now. So this, I think that's probably priced in. And I think that dollar value, I think like 2150 is them pricing in a bottom with the cash that they think is going to be on hand in the earnings report in what 7 or 8 days now. That's what I think. I could be wrong, right? This is speculation on my part, but that's what that looks like to me. Thinking about, okay, if this is algorithmic pricing, yeah, something like that. Oops. Master Chief, cool name, dog. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. On my end, it says there's 383 because on X, it just anybody who comes and watches it, it just like automatically says is watching the whole time. But that's all good. I appreciate your support, man. Hey, happy to do some learning and thinking and stuff with who's ever got the time. I know, right? 4 p.m. Eastern time. Some people are at work, something like that. But it's all good. I'm happy y'all are here. Maybe. Cheers, Trig. Oh, okay. So that's your entry price is 16. Okay. I don't think it's going back to 16, dog. Maybe because I don't know anything, but like, I don't think it's going back to 16. I haven't watched that show, but cheers, unburdened croissant sympathy. You've always got some. You're always ready. I wonder how much time you spend cooking up the comments. It's good. Unburdened croissant sympathy doesn't disappoint. That's a good question. I think it's going to be good, but it was good last year, and they still dropped it. So I think the move is determined ahead of time, and then surprises are priced in like a month later. So I think they're going to drop it. That's what I think they're going to do coming out of earnings. I think we get a higher low going into April OPEX, maybe. This is pure speculation on my part right now. But I think if they're really like, because this is it. How did they play this into earnings? If they drop it into earnings, then maybe it recovers coming out if earnings are good. But if they're pumping it into earnings, if they drop it and then the 2 weeks prior they pump it into earnings, unless there's a real game breaker, I think they drop that because it's GameStop, right? Because it's GameStop, and earnings will be good, but unless they have some real showstopper, 100 or 150 mil in interest is great, but it's not. We pumped to 30 overnight. You know what I'm saying? No, anticipate GME to have a cross 30 like the. This feels like a phallic reference. Do you mean like the $30 level? O, cześć. Jak tam? Tylko biznes. Dla Janusza. Dobrze. Yeah. Hoogie's on the same page. 19, very hard to get back to base on cash on hand. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, because like as much as we like to think about like the algos being this kind of like monolith, like it's like that's the whole beep boop boop thing from from Roy Kitty, right? You get the beep boop boops going at each other. So you got one group's beep boop boops don't agree with the other group's beep boop boops, and they're not inclined to help each other, right? So I think like they know they're not going to be able to, like, they could push it down and they can entertain like certain ranges, but they can't push it down past certain ranges, or else other algorithms go up, undervalued, buy, buy it all, and then things get tough. Yeah, I'm thinking that 2050, that 100 week moving average. Yeah, let's go back over there. All right. Yeah, 100-week moving average is 2055. So the average price for the last 100 weeks, so 2 years, is $20.55. That's only going to go up, right? Because if we bump back to 23, like March 23, what was our price in March 23? Lower. Oh, we did get back up. We're basically back in that price range. Spring was cool. Spring 23 was cool. Into the 20s. But then summer was not. Summer and fall were not. From 27 down to 13. Ugh. Q3 earnings, not bad. Ugh. Ugh. Brutal. But now there's over 4 times as much cash on hand. Think about that. When this was 10 and it reversed crazy hard, there was less than 1/4 the cash that we now have on hand. So I'm just saying, if I were a beep boop boop, I'd be buying. Cheers, dog. That's that guy's MO. He likes to do that. No co, nic nie mówisz? O. Nie wiem, jeżeli to jest o, like o, albo o. Polacy też mówią. Yeah, Bitcoin's going down too. Like, Bitcoin's going to go down. Pretty sure. They might. They might do some Bitcoin hopium. Yeah, I feel like he's just not going to spend it. I feel like he's not. Like, I feel like everyone's like, oh, what's it going to be? Oh, rumors, all this. Oh, then it starts like the algorithms start like automatically trading it with Bitcoin. And then he's just like, oh, did nothing. And then they have to like, he's like, I have more cash now. And then they have to do that. And then they can't like preemptively short it because of, honestly, this whole Bitcoin thing, this is what I was thinking, Hoogs. You make a good point here. Let's go look at Bitcoin. Let's go look at the Bitcoin chart real quick. Bitcoin also going down. Also seeing similar things here in our momentum, right? Got this double top. Momentum down, right? And we finally, did we get we're pretty flat on the 55. Once that starts moving down, once that starts moving down, Bitcoin will start going back down again. Found some support right here at the 50 week, but it's probably eventually going to like 45. Eventually, give it a year, right? Because we're still looking bearish. Double top, they'll tank that too. But I think I wondered this: did they purposefully circulate that news and those rumors to aid themselves in suppressing the price ahead of the swap? Like, did like UBS pay for that or something? So that, right? Because Han Akamatsu was like showing that like GameStop was in like a crypto. I forgot exactly what he was doing, but it was like trading in like a crypto group. So it was correlated with crypto stocks for no reason other than that I can tell. That the rumors were circulated. So were these rumors circulated such that algorithms that scan for sentiment would start pricing in GameStop to a certain degree, would start trading it down based on depreciation of Bitcoin, on the assumption that they had in fact purchased Bitcoin, and that potentially, right, Ryan Cohen might reveal, nope, we don't have anything, and so they need to adjust the price because it got correlated down with this Bitcoin sell-off, and it turned out Ryan Cohen's got no Bitcoin. Yeah. Hey, cheers, my friend. I'll keep going. Hey, I always appreciate when you guys express your appreciation. Like, even a little comment, even a little thank you goes a long way. Like, especially these past couple weeks, right? Tough couple weeks. You know, it's never like, I never like to come out here and be like, it's gonna go down. You know, I don't like to. It's not fun, right? Like, today's a fun day. Today's a fun day because, like, yesterday I got to go in and be like, oh, I think now it's gonna go up. And then today, you know, come in and go like, it's probably going up, and then it goes up and you're like, yay. And then everybody's all excited. Like, those are great days, you know, and like 100 new people follow me and, you know, all that stuff. Like, that's all great. And I do understand, you know, there's temptations when you're running an account. Like, I think what a lot of people end up doing is they learn like, okay, like, I want a following and I want people to listen to me and I want to be influential and stuff like that. And they're tempted, especially in terms of finance, to be like hype and excitement because, like, people want to hear that, right? Like, people like it when I say the stock will go up. Like, they like that. They like to hear that. And people follow me when I say stuff like that, and then they unfollow me when they're like, this guy's boring. He just says the stock's going to go down for 3 weeks. It's like, but it is, you know. But people don't like to hear that. So, you know, it can be tough, like, coming out here, like, putting in all this work, like, you know, okay, I have defensive strategies for my portfolio, but, you know, I'm invested in GameStop. So I, you know, come in and I still watch my portfolio decrease in value, even if I have defensive trades in place. Like, I can't chase the price down that quick. I'm not that capital rich that I just go and like open up big put positions or something like that. So yeah, so, you know, it can be a couple weeks in a row is not necessarily fun. You know, coming out and being like, well, it's going to go down, and then you tell everybody, oh, the market's going to go down, and like, especially Bitcoin too, like, oh, Bitcoin's going to go down. People don't like to hear that, but you know, it means a lot for, you know, to me to you know, hear from you guys and say like, hey man, like, keep like keep going, right? Because like I don't want to become somebody who makes videos or produces content just because like it's going to get me praise or somebody's a bigger following. That's why whenever it's like how do more people not follow you, it's like they don't. I don't know, they don't. Maybe there are things I could do differently, but when they do, they will. Let me, I'll just I'm zen, right, until then, because I'd rather be able to make sure I can get things consistently as accurate as possible for a smaller group of people than be tempted to kind of have more people looking at me and potentially mislead them. So I appreciate all you guys, really. Thank you. Yeah, it's gonna be a good couple weeks here heading into earnings. We're gonna have some fun. Oh, that's a good idea, Cole. Maybe. I would say though that at this point, like the brand is too valuable, not leastly because of what's happened and what is still happening with this as like an investment phenomenon. GameStop is immortalized because of not only what happened in 2021, but the fact that nobody will walk away from this. Right? It is the meme stock. GameStop is the meme stock. It will define an era. Like people will look back, just like people call like 2008, like the MBS era, like the mortgage-backed securities. Like people will call the meme stock era. They will call it the GameStop era, is what they will call it in terms of trading. That's how big GameStop is in that regard. So I don't think they will ever actually get rid of that IP. I don't think they'll ever really retire that, but we could see something like the GameShire Stop Away project, where GameStop will become, a brand in like, what do they call it? They don't call it an environment. What do they call it? A collective. I forget what they call it. Ecosystem. They call it an ecosystem, right? It'll become one business in like a conglomerate, like, yeah, ecosystem type thing, I think is what they'll do. Yeah, man. He'll be back, right? He'll be back. Um, I think the Futurama tweet. I think I told this to Richard too. I think the Futurama tweet was him just saying like, we gotta wait for another swap cycle. We gotta wait for a swap cycle, and also like, I'll wait for you, Ryan Cohen. Those two things together. Um, you know, this I do think it's him. I think the share stuff. I think the single share mystery stuff. I think that's him. 100%. The 69, 69, 69, 69, 69, 420, 96. That's him. Not doing tweets, but still talking to us. Because, right, he's not trying to pump the stock. He's not trying to pump it with his tweets. Because just the tweet itself doesn't necessarily, communicative, right? Those are communicative not just to us, but to, RC and stuff as well, to Ryan Cohen. But yeah, well, May he was definitely pumping it, but yeah. Yeah, I'll try to find time. I'll do some surveys, right? I'll do some surveys too to try to find like what times will work best for people. Hey, CW's here. What's up, man? Funko Pop. Did you ever get? Do you have like a bunch of Funko Pops? You know, that's how he can. It's exploitable, right? He points out stuff that's exploitable. Roaring Kitty likes to find the little exploitable stuff that demonstrates that the market is a sham. That's a big part of what he's doing, right? And I think his headband. I heard this somewhere. I have to verify, but his headband, the red headband, is a reference to one of the Occupy Wall Street videos from 2011. Yeah, niche reference. Yeah, so that's basically outlook for what's coming up with our stonk here and more market stuff. What I did say I wanted to do too, and I started to get a look at this, was the PSA app. So looking at this, I was trying to figure out how I actually want to show you this because I'm using my phone as my camera, and I don't know how to share the screen of the actual app, but I did take a look at it. Is there a way I can get? I might just share the website here. I created an account. It's actually super easy if you guys, if you have some Pokemon cards, right? So, like I said, I'm in the U.S. temporarily, right, visiting my folks. My dad actually had very recently had surgical procedure. He was unexpectedly very lucky, right? Caught diagnosed with lung cancer, but caught very super early stage 1. So he had a pretty involved procedure to remove the tumor from his lungs. So spending some time with the family and make things a little easier on my mom, while he's getting better. But what that means is I have access here to my childhood Pokemon collection, which has probably close to 1,000 Pokemon cards here. Let me see if I can. He's doing actually really well. It was a really excellent success, Guido. Let me see if I can tilt the camera here. Oh no! All right. So super close. What can I do here? It's like zoomed in and one. Oh, there we go. Okay. Right. So got some good stuff. Right. I started doing a few of these. It took. Ooh. I don't want to drop them. It didn't take very much time at all to get this set up. You can download the app. It takes like 3 minutes to set up an account. And I already started to scan in a few cards here. You can just scan them in right away, and it'll start giving you. Let's get the screen out of the way here. So it'll just start telling you, like it'll just give you like a pop-up chart. So you just scan in the photo. You can leave them in the cases, right? You don't have to take them out of the cases. You can leave them in protective casing, and then you can immediately just start scanning these guys, and it'll give you a few options. It'll give you the most likely ones, and then you can see. So like, for example, I scanned this Chansey one here, and this turned out that this Chansey was like an interesting no mark Chansey. So there's supposed to be like a shadow or something like right here, right? Like this guy. So I have this first edition holographic, or this is a shadowed Kangaskhan from 1999. This card, was it this one? Forget which one of these, but like a PSA grade 10 of this sold for like $1,600, something like that. I mean, the tens are rare, but and it just tells you that price information. It'll tell you like the entire sales history over the past 5 years. They have a running tally of how many of these that there are, so they'll tell you the whole supply, and it'll also like set you up to send in cards for grading. I think it is a little bit more expensive if you do it directly on the PSA app rather than doing it through GameStop. GameStop's a couple bucks cheaper, and if you're a GameStop Pro member, you get free shipping. So it's about 20%, 25% cheaper if you do it through GameStop. you can then, once you get those graded, you can have them entered into the PSA vault and the PSA app and stuff. So, yeah. So it's very simple to just go right ahead and set up an account. I would say I don't like. You have to do a little bit of work, I think, still to figure out which ones you might want to get graded. Because it's $25 per card is like the lowest tier of grading for the PSA app. So I would still say, like, when I was going through this, I was like, okay, like maybe I'll go through some of these, but I'm not about to just like go get all of my cards. Excuse me, go get all of my cards graded, because like some of them might be like $20 or $25. And if it's $25 to get it graded, it's like, I don't know, right? So there's a kind of thing there of like, maybe these start to go up in value once the whole like integrated, if GameStop does do this integrated NFT market thing. Because right now, any of the sales that you do through the PSA app is going to be on eBay. It takes you right to eBay, and they really have it streamlined as far as doing that. So it's really great. It's really made a lot of progress from like, what I remember about car sales even like 5 years ago or 10 years ago. And you can, once you get it graded, you can then enter it in by serial number. So this is the other thing too, right? We were talking about the non-fungible tokens. PSA already has unique serial numbers for cards that you grade. So they enter this into like a master database of all the cards that they keep. And so they already know, oh, okay, that's Chansey serial number, blah, 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 blah. That's like the 5th best quality one out there, right? Something like that. It's definitely a 10. But it's really good. It's sold for this much back in this year, right? So they then are able to use the serial number in order to keep provenance data per card, which is really cool. So that seems to me like very easy to introduce the non-fungible token element to it. I would say what I would like is I would like to see more integration between the current PSA app and GameStop. I know Larry like already sent in like all of his card collection. Some of these cards, like really good cards though, like the first one that I scanned was like this Wigglytuff. If this ends up being a 10, which it's pretty much mint, as far as I can tell, maybe there's something I'm missing as far as this being, not a 10. But even like an off-peak sale of this very recently, earlier this year, back in February, this sold for like $375. So it's like, okay, $25 to get this graded and figure out if this is worth like $90 or $375. It's like, all right, that's a decent investment. And then worst case, I go, I don't want to sell this now. Enter it into the vault, and then maybe once we get that bigger synergy between that integration between GameStop and PSA, then we can, it'll get appreciated. Yeah, let's take a look, New Snake. What do you think? They got to measure it, right? Maybe it might not be a 10. Might be a 9. No scratches or anything. Any scratches you see are just the case I have here. This like sleeve, which is orange from being so old. Is that a strong factoring? Interesting. So I'm learning, right? I don't know anything about this. It looks pretty close. I'm not the pro though. Yeah, I think it's at least a 9. I think it's at least a 9. And I've got, I don't know, like these are just like the first like 5 or so I pulled out here. Like again, this Chansey has like apparently additional value because it doesn't have the shadow marking. So like this one isn't like extra rare because it has the this little shadow marking. It's still good quality, and I mean it's still a rarer card, especially depending on the grading quality. But Apparently this one is rare because it doesn't have that flower on it, which I think makes it an earlier run card in the series or something like that. Yeah. In any case, it recognize like the app just recognizes that stuff, so you can take a look at it. Oh, Snake's got the tips, man. This is what I need. Narrow it down to 5 or 10. Yeah, if you got card grading tips, I've never done anything like this. Like this is the first, like hearing about the app was the first time I was like, ooh, let me get these out here. But yeah, I might do that. I might do that. I mean, I'd love to find a way to. It sucks that you have to have as like a base entry is like $25. You know, the GameStop Pro membership thing where you can do it because GameStop Pro membership knocks it down to 18 something, which is better. But like, I don't know. You know, I'm not going to sell. Like, I'm not going to try to. If I'm paying $18, I'm putting up $18 to like sell a $25 card. I mean, maybe what I guess I'd do that for a GameStop share. Why wouldn't I do that for a Pidgeotto or something, right? But that'd be cool, right? I guess that's sort of the idea. Is then once you get the NFT, thing going, you can just do that really right directly. So it's pretty integrated. Like I said, I would love to see. I can see where. Like I want to pick that. Okay, do like the cash out, get graded, but I want to see that like integrated with the GameStop app, so I can get like if I'm a pro member, I get that free shipping. Because I would love to do like really, I would love to sit down and like take all these. I have like also like 2,000 Yu-Gi-Oh cards or something like that they also grade. So to go through those would be really cool. I like my Yu-Gi-Oh. I used to really like playing the Yu-Gi-Oh game itself. The Yu-Gi-Oh game is a fun game. Dual Monsters. Like I actually played that game. I like made decks and stuff. It's fun. The Pokemon trading card game I never like played in person because you had to have like the health tokens. Which I didn't, but I like there was a Game Boy game. There was an original Game Boy game which was just called the Pokemon trading card game that I really liked. Oh, is it bad now? What happened? What happened? No, it used to be fun. Oh, what is Pendulum? I don't know any of this. I just played like with the original set. What? Yeah, man, that's what we've been talking about that past couple of weeks. That's the idea. Like, I really think that's the next stage of adding liquidity to this market because that's what PSA is doing, right? PSA is trying to add liquidity to the card market by decreasing the cost to entry as much as possible in terms of effort, time, information costs, things like that, right? I mean, the grading fee sucks, but if there can also then be an NFT marketplace, because this is what I wanted to show you guys was like the integration with the vault stuff. Let me try to get over to the website here. Because I think you can still see it on the desktop. So they don't on the desktop app, they don't have the the scan feature, but they do show you your order, so you can see like the grading process. You can see like the what stage it is. Here on the desktop, you can do like individual card lookups, but the thing that's great about the scan feature on the app is like the really cool part of the app. Like it just comes up right away. It'll tell you, and it'll give you all the pricing history, and it's very accurate. Like it'll give you like a choice of like 4. I think it gives you 4, and you have to check very close. You can check certain symbols to see like which variation it is, but it's good. It's super easy. Like you just figure it out really, really quickly. But you can do this. So I guess, yeah, that goes under on the desktop app, they have it down under like the research stuff with the different, like it'll give you population reports. So if we go like 1999, let's look at that Chansey. Oh, this is all like baseball stuff. That's right. See, that's why it's easier to do to just do the app. Tickets. Oh, they do tickets too? What? Oh, I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna go look through this list. Yeah, so that was what was annoying about like their website is you had to like go and individually like go through the whole list. Now you can just do the scan and it'll just take it to you right away. Yeah. So then once you get it graded too, you can like it'll digitize your whole collection. Like you add the certification number, and then you can just like view your whole deal here, which is what Larry was doing the other day, right? Larry's been getting stuff graded. But it's cool. I would recommend go play around with the app. If you have some cards, if you've done something like this, oh, you can't even see this. This is what I mean. Like this is what I mean. Right. So you can like go like directly with your certification number once you get it graded, and then it'll just like display all your stuff here in your collection digitized. And then if you want, you can send it over to the vault. To the vault. But in any case, I think it's really cool. Definitely has a lot of promise here. Like I can see how this is gonna, if they can really get this integrated over with the GameStop stuff, if they can integrate either the GameStop app or just so like I said, I think the number one feature I'd like to see right away is I'd like to see like the cash out, like when I go to PSA cash out for my grading entries, because they let you do that like add to cart right away for the specific card, which is also really helpful. Really streamlined. I would like it to just be like, are you a GameStop Pro member? What's your number? Blah, blah, blah. Oh, okay, here's your modified grading price. You can go drop these off now at your local GameStop, like specify which one you're going to drop it off at. Because they like ask you for your, like they'll ask you for your zip code, your area code, stuff like that. So they can like match you with, I guess your area or like, where your cards are, I guess. But it'd be great to just be able to have that next step with the app, make that connection to GameStop. Because like I'm not yet, because like I see that difference. I know something's happening there with GameStop. I'm not as motivated to be like, man, I got to get on this like right now, and I'll pay the $25 per card fee or something like that. Like, well, but GameStop, I could save like 25% of my grading fee. Maybe I wait until I get this integrated, right? Something like that. So we'll see. Maybe they'll have news for us when it's time to, at the earnings report. That's potential. So, yeah. All right, guys. Thank you very much for another excellent stream here. Cheers to everybody who maybe played today's price action. I heard from a lot of people on X that worked out well for you. So very happy for anybody who was able to use any of my analytics in a beneficial way. So definitely happy for that. Cheers, Tom. Cheers, Maxie. Cheers, Rick. What's up, Maestro? Ooh, ATM. That's a good question. I will have to think about that. I don't know. I don't know about another ATM. We're not seeing, like, Cohen usually does it by volume, and we haven't quite seen that type of volume. I think that's been indicative of him doing an at the money, or not at the market offering. So I'm inclined away from that, but we don't know for certain, right? Maybe it's something worth thinking about, but good question. But in any case, yeah. So thanks a lot, guys. Thank you very much for a good stream. We'll be back at this time again next next Friday. Enjoy the weekend. Yeah, definitely check out the PSA app. Let me know your thoughts if you have thoughts on that. You know, shoot me questions if you guys have questions over on X. You know, check my stuff over the weekend. And yeah, we'll see you guys back here on YouTube for another for the next breakdown on Monday. So thank you very much, everybody. Good to see you guys.